What's going on, people? Hope I didn't scare the crap out of you. Yeah, myself and Paul will be on in about 10 minutes or so. And we'll get to chit-chatting with all of you. And yes, we have Paul live on Skype with us tonight. So you can feel free to ask questions and all that kind of good stuff. We figured we'd do one of these since the moon is approaching new. It isn't really coming up at prime time for us. So we figured we'd jump on here and rewind one that we didn't get to take a very good close look at before. So we're going to do it tonight with you guys and give you guys a chance to talk to Paul a little bit and let Paul talk to you a little bit. And, you know, hour or two, maybe. So, yeah, we'll be on about 10-15 minutes or so. We're just waiting for a shift change down there in Florida. So, but yeah, give us about 10 minutes and we'll be ready to rock. And once again, no, this is not live tonight. It is from April 14th, 2016. It's one of the streams that we didn't get to look at with a keen eye, which is why we're replaying it tonight for everybody to see, just in case anything shows up in the video that we can mark down. And then me and Paul will be on here to chit-chat with everybody, and you can ask questions or whatever you want to know, and we'll do our best to answer them. Once again, about 5-10 minutes or so, and we'll be on live with you.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
All right, guys. What's up? Once again, welcome to Astronomy Rewind. We're taking another look at April 14th, 2016, that you can see there on the screen. Looked like a pretty good night, pretty clear. We're just giving another once-over, a critique, just in case we missed anything, which is where you guys come in handy, seeing with your eyeballs. So once again, I got Paul with me, so welcome, Paul. What's up, buddy?
Hey guys, what's up? Not too much.
Same old, same old.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, we decided to do this kind of impromptu, like an hour ago? We were like, we should just go on and just let people chit-chat. Because I rarely get you on here, because you're always so busy with the damn scope.
Yeah, and it is a lot of work, too. Believe it or not, it is.
That's what I'm saying. I got the easy part. All I got to do is adjust contrasts and brightness and alpha. I think Paul's the one that's actually doing the hard man labor. He's out on the rooftops.
Yeah.
So, some people heard from me before when we were up at Bill's house. We did a couple streams up there, but I definitely wanted to start getting you in here more. And
okay,
it's good. So once again, I'm gonna ask the main question that a lot of people have asked, and just let you answer it. How did you get into astronomy, and how did you get so damn good at what you do?
Okay, well, about 4 years ago, I was looking at YouTube UFO videos and stuff, and I just started, looking for live space shots and live moon shots, and I couldn't find anything. I really couldn't find anything. So I decided to buy a telescope, and then I did find, of course, everybody knows Paul in Arizona, and I started watching his channel, and learning a little bit from Paul, and then
for anybody that doesn't know, Paul that we're talking about is Dark Sky Watcher. They used to stream out from Arizona. Yep.
Right, and he started having issues and stuff, and I started doing my own thing, and I'll tell you, Keith, I had to buy camera after camera after camera until I finally found something that worked.
Yeah,
that really worked.
Yep.
It was hard. I have a box of cameras, a box.
I know. I seen it. You sent me a picture of them, and I'm sitting there with my jaw dropped. Just the amount of money that you have invested in the equipment that you have is almost astounding to me for somebody that started. Yeah, exactly. And for somebody that really hasn't been in it overly long, per se, to somebody like, say, Mark, that's been in it for 20, 30 years, constant professional astronomers tell me that this is some of the best moon footage they have ever seen.
Well, that's what I really try to get is live video of solar stream or solar system objects.
Right.
I'm not set up for deep sky. I'm not set up for galaxies. I'm not. I mainly try to get the best shots I can get of the moon and of the planets. And that's what I've really concentrated on. So when you guys ask me to do other things, it's like a shot in the dark, whether we're going to get anything or not. It really is, because for one, I have, if I'm trying to use my solar system camera, chances are we're not going to get anything.
Yeah.
And if we do, it's not going to be anything like if we had the right camera.
Yep. And I'll tell you what, I mean, once again, for somebody doing it for 4 or 5 years, like you have, that's what initially got me hooked. Because when I was streaming the moon, back before we decided to team up and do this thing, I was just doing it basically on a 6-inch, telescope, just kind of streaming wide field and whatnot. Yeah, I could zoom in, with a camera fairly. I mean, we weren't getting, of course, the field of view that you're getting, say that's on the screen right now. But as soon as I came across your page, I was like, holy, what? I was like, this guy. And then I noticed the trouble that, how you go from it being like a really light, like as you see on the screen right now, to when you do that deep zoom into the craters, that whole adjustment process. And I was like, I think I can make that a little easier on him. You know?
Yeah, and it is hard to adjust the contrast and the lighting when you're also trying to operate the telescope and zoom in and zoom out. It is very hard. So, I appreciate anything you can do to get better views of the inside of the craters.
Yeah, I'm constantly
And
testing out new software for imaging and stuff, trying to get like better peaks. Because most things are more like you can always pretty much do the alpha band. You can do the brightness and contrast and stuff. Well, there's some that I'm starting with now that actually handle pixelation and how.
Sure.
I don't really know how to explain because once again I am not a camera guy. Like Mark could probably explain this, in 2 seconds where I can't do it. But it actually,
Right.
I want to say the word is dilate, but it's not. But it measures the pixels and it actually corrects for any imbalances in the image being fed through it.
Right.
And it's called a data something. I have the box here somewhere. It's like data SM or something like that. But anyway, yeah. So I just wanted to end the constant. I mean, I can't even relay enough to you how many compliments we get in the chat, trying to relay them over to you. Just
I
blowing
appreciate
people
that,
away.
And I just, I wish we could get the kind of video that I want to get, but lately we just have not had the seeing conditions. And and when the moon is in the right phase, we've been having bad cloudy nights and stuff.
By
But,
far, our best month this year has been February. February, I think we got 15 or 16 streams in during that cycle. It was
Yeah.
great, and they were mostly clear and just, yeah.
Yep.
But hey, we're at the mercy of Mother Nature. You know what I mean?
That's right, and every year it's a little different. You never know what you're gonna get. One year I had so many clear nights. It was I just assumed that every night was going to be clear forever. And then you just get all these months of bad weather.
Yeah. And
So,
and dude, I have to relay this once again, one more time to you. You're doing this from practically sea level. Okay.
Oh,
You're
I am
getting-
sea level.
Yeah, you're getting better imaging than people that are on top of mountains in the middle of Colorado. Because we tried from Colorado, remember? And we just so happened to have the jet stream
unfortunately-
passing overhead.
Right, we had the jet stream over us, and I was so looking forward to
Oh, no.
And I'll tell you that when I was on my way home from Colorado, I so wanted to stop and do a stream on the side of the road because I was actually watching galaxies with my naked eye
Really?
from Colorado up the mountains.
Wow.
There's so many stars. If I would have had my scope out, even with my regular camera, we could have just really seen some neat stuff. So, when we do get to Arizona and these other places soon in the next year or so, we will come up with some really nice stuff.
And once again, I want to put that across that's why we kind of did a team up with Bill and Mark D'Antonio, because of the fact that Paul concentrates mostly on the moon and planets. It comes in handy because Mark does the deep space objects, the nebulas, the stars. And, of course, Bill does the wide field with your meteor showers and everything like that. And it just made sense that we'd have basically the 3 different things that we need to cover astronomy as a whole. And those guys are great.
That's not saying that Mark won't do the moon every once in a while and so on and that. It's just that's what we're good at.
Yeah.
Individually.
Yep. And I want to open it up in the chat. If you guys have any questions for myself or Paul, feel free to ask them. We'll answer them the best that we can. It's totally up to you guys. We got Paul for a little bit. He said he'd hang out for a little bit. So, yeah, we'll just see where this takes us. Once again, we're watching from April 14th, 2016, which seemed to be a beautiful night. And I'm not sure.
It does look like it does.
Yeah, I don't remember why I didn't stream this night, but I looked back in the thing.
So this is right off. So this is you didn't stream this night, huh?
No. I was looking back in the past archives and I'm like, man, I don't have April 14th, and I saw it on yours, and I'm like, okay. I said this is a good one to get people to check out.
Yeah,
So,
there you go. Of course, it could be from a year ago too. It could be from a couple years ago.
Oh, you know what? It
'Cause
could be.
Yeah, I don't think it was this past April. I think it was the April before.
So it might have been 2015
or 16. Yeah.
Yeah, I have it
16.
down. I have it down as 2016. Dee asked. Dee is one of our moderators in the chat, and she asked if you have any background in science at all.
If you can count eighth grade, I tell you, I loved science in school. I really did. I was the teacher's pet in science, and even into high school. But I loved it, and I've always been interested in science. And now I just have a lot of time on my hands. And a few years ago, I lost my girlfriend. She passed away. She was living with me here, and ever since then, I really needed something to fill my time, and so that kind of helped me out. So I really got into astronomy.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear about that, man.
Yeah.
So. We got hold on, I did see another one here. Oh, how many scopes do you actually have? If you
I guess about 10. About 10.
About 10 total.
Now,
and ones that you actually use on, say, a weekly basis. Three of them, which would be the 9 and a quarter.
Yeah, well, basically I used the 9 and a quarter generally for the close-ups, and then I used the 2 refractors. I have one that's the wide view, and then one that's a medium view. It's kind of it's in between the two. It's actually 1,000 millimeter focal. The big scope is like 2,200 millimeter, and the little one is 500 millimeters. So it's right in the middle between the two. So it's as far as focal goes, it's right in the middle. So I have 2 refractors and then the Cassegrain that I use.
And we have another question here, which I can pretty much answer if you want me to. It says, are you able to zoom well enough to see the Apollo mission sites? We get this question all the time. Would you like me to handle this one?
You have to have a really big scope, and you have to be on like the biggest mountaintop with the biggest scope, and then I think you can get it to like a dot. They have imaged the site. I've seen it, but I don't think it's from an Earth-based scope. I think it was from satellite or something.
What have basically no Earth-based telescope can image the. I mean, they're just too small. If you would take the biggest scope that we have, which I believe is like 30 meters at this present time, it would be basically 1/24th of 1 pixel that you would be able to see. Like it just can't resolve it. I think one of these big channels, either it was Vertasium or maybe it was SciShow, they did the math anyway, and it turned out that you would need like a 360 meter scope to bring it within 1 pixel, so you could see definition, dark area definition. But if you guys go onto the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter site for NASA, you can see all the Apollo sites. They do
flybys. They do flybys, and they do have the pictures up there for sure.
Yep. Let me make sure I'm not missing any here. I really got to fix where I put my microphone. I put it on the wrong side.
I'll tell you, when we do zoom in, it does look like you're really close. But I'll tell you, some of those craters are 10 miles wide. Some of them are even wider.
Some are
the
hundreds.
Bigger ones.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just. I don't know. I don't believe the exact numbers that some of these people throw out there.
I'm just going on what Mark tells me.
No, I believe Mark. Yeah, I think Mark is closer to the truth than some of these other places. But it's actually, those craters are very big.
Right.
And those mountains that we zoom into, they're big mountain ranges.
Yeah, very monstrous.
Big. Yeah.
Let me see here. We do have. Actually, you know what? I should. Amanda's in the chat. Amanda, do you know if Mark's doing anything tonight, radio-wise? I should have sent. I was gonna send him a message before we got on here, and I totally forgot. But I can send him one here shortly.
I tell you, I'm looking at the stream, and that wide view is a really nice shot.
Yeah.
And 2 years ago when I first started, I used to catch no less than 5 objects a night. Sometimes up to 60, 70 a night.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of dropped off a lot. This year it's really dropped off a lot. I don't see as many objects past the wide view as much.
Is the moon your favorite thing to image?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I started, and every time you watch the moon, it's different.
Hmm.
Every time you image the moon, you see something different, and that's why I turn the scope and turn the camera a lot and get different angles and try to zoom in from different angles,
Hmm.
because every night you have a different view, and you can always have a chance to see something different.
Right. It's just, I mean, dude, it's just some like the other night. I believe when it was clearing up, the night that we did the one till 5 a.m. That at the
Right.
end, it really started clearing up, and man, you were in those craters, man.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the moon wasn't even up all the way yet. If we would have, if it, we would have had another hour or so, it would have really cleared up.
Hmm. And
Yeah,
I
it
believe
was.
the new moon hits sometime early tomorrow morning, Sunday morning, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, or is it Monday maybe? So it's looking like moon cycle will probably be back mid next week, maybe, for the new one.
Yeah, we just have to look for the moon sets. As soon as they start setting after the sunset, then like once it goes, the moon sets an hour or two
Hmm.
after the sunset, then we can start imaging.
And what?
Doesn't matter how big the moon is; it could be almost at zero, and
Yeah.
we can image it as long as it comes up after the sunsets.
Right, and
I'm
once
sorry.
again, our the length of the streams will get longer and longer as the moon cycle, goes in waxing. Our first one might be
And
only
it
be an
gets
hour or
clear,
so.
and it gets clear,
Yep.
and it gets clear because the best time to image the moon is when it's straight up and down.
Hmm.
You've got that, I call it the Goldilocks zone there.
Yep.
It's that when the moon's at its highest, we get the best shots.
Dang asked, do you have a favorite star?
No, not really. I guess you could say Polaris.
Oh yeah, you
Because
need that one to be a favorite, right?
yeah, I'm constantly trying to get these mounts to track well,
Mhm.
so I have to constantly be studying Polaris and get it lined up every night. So I would say Polaris.
You wouldn't believe how many people come into the chat and go, "This is fake. You're just staring at a picture," because of how well your mount is tracking on certain nights. Like it literally
Yeah,
just looks like you're just looking at a picture.
yeah, and I have a quick alignment where I just align on that one object, and it tracks very well. But if I actually take my time and do a 3-star alignment,
Hmm.
I could actually follow it all the way across the sky without moving it once.
Nice.
But I don't do that alignment very often. It takes about 15 minutes to do. And you know me, I try to set up in like 5 minutes. So I just do the quick alignment.
Hmm.
So
Well, hopefully we'll be able to do a lot more of these kind of hangouts and get you on more, because I'd like to do get you in on some opinions on stuff that we catch. Because
Right.
how we pretty much we tell people to timestamp it in the chat, and then I write all those down and then I check them the next day. It'd be nice sometimes to go on, say if we do have a pretty active night, to get you on say the next night or maybe a couple nights later and review
Sure.
that actual footage and go over it
yeah,
and maybe
and,
have
and
Mark
I
lining
know
up.
we have a lot of meteor showers coming in soon.
Hmm.
So we really need to start looking at these meteor showers. Because when we have meteor showers and you image the moon, you have a lot better chance of catching these objects pass through our frame of view.
Right.
Whenever there's a peak of a meteor shower and I image the moon, I catch a lot of objects out in space passing past the moon.
Yeah, I
So
remember looking at some of your older videos, and it was just like so much, like crazy stuff. Like I think you caught the Black Knight one night, the Black Knight satellite. That's exactly what it looked like.
Yeah, I did.
I mean, it was
Yeah, I
just
think
crazy.
I caught it twice back. Yeah, and I used to catch so many objects, and now it just seems that I don't get as many. I think maybe I zoom a little more than I used to.
Here
I used
comes
to do
one
a lot
on
more
YouTube,
wide-
by the way. Go on top of the screen to the bottom. Keep your eyes out, YouTube. It's coming. Yeah, once again, it goes from the top of the screen to the bottom. Something goes by really fast. I just seen
on
it
the wide
actually
view, huh?
It's a little bit closer view. Not total wide.
I mean,
view,
on
but-
the close view. Yeah, I'm sorry, on the close view.
Yeah, there it went. On my feed, 11:36:42 maybe I think it was, time wise.
Okay, here it comes. Yeah, I saw it.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, if we would have been seeing that with the refractor scope, we would have watched it cross the whole moon.
Yep.
So, and you see a lot more objects with the wide view. But I have to say, I'm getting ready for the eclipse. And I'm ordering that double stack that we talked about for the solar camera, or for the solar scope. So we can get more detail on the sun.
Nice.
Which will make a better picture for the less active days.
Right.
You'll get a lot more details on the solar disk and on the limbs. So I'm going to be getting that soon. So we're going to have to really start doing more solar broadcasts leading up to the eclipse.
Yeah, and it's starting to get a little bit more active as of late.
Yes,
a couple more spots here and there.
It is.
I know for a while there it was just dead. I mean,
there was nothing.
There was absolutely nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. 2 Sundays ago, there was a very nice flare and a big spot the same day, and that was great. And last Sunday we had a small spot, but it's hopefully it'll get a little bit better as the day comes closer. Right. So have you decided what you're going to do with that eclipse yet? Are you still going to?
Yeah, Tennessee bound. Yep. So,
okay.
I mean, we'll be streaming live from there, and I was hoping, I know Bill said that he can't make it. He has some stuff that he has to do. Mark still might. I think he's going to, because he has to deliver that dome. Remember when we were at his house, he said he had that dome that he donated to that school where he's going to take it down, and that's in Kentucky. So he's thinking about actually going to Kentucky and then meeting me down in Nashville.
Okay.
So.
And I'm still a maybe. I haven't tried to get the time off yet, so I'm going to try.
It's a Monday, right?
Yeah, it's a Monday or Tuesday. I can't remember.
And Nashville eclipse time is going to be around noon. So it's around noon or 12:30, because I think Charleston, South Carolina is around 1 or so. So, but I'll have the 3 cameras there. One of them will have a solar cap on it, so it'll do as best that it can with the clips. I will get it. It's basically like a welder's lens, pretty much.
Sure.
But it's enough to see, the covering and everything is enough to live stream. Well, we do have awesome internet down there. She's running, I think, 90 megabytes per second download. But there are going to be a lot of astronomers and people, period, in that area. I wanted to leave a 90-mile swath where we can go north or south if we have to because of clouds or storms. You know what I mean? Where we can bolt, constantly watching the weather.
And do an hour drive. Do an hour drive to get some clear sky.
Exactly.
Yeah,
or
that's
if we
gonna
have
be
to jump ahead of a storm, you know what I mean? We can do it.
Yeah. I gotcha. Well, I'm going to definitely try to be there and do my part in getting everything ready on this end.
Yep.
I think the hydrogen, the H alpha scope will really look pretty neat. I've never used it for an eclipse before, but I would imagine that it would really look good until the total eclipse. Because I don't know what you're going to see once the moon the sun is completely covered.
Oh, and once again, we're lucky enough to get 2 shots at this in our lifetime. We have now, and then I think 2024, there's going to be another one over North America. I'm not sure where the path of totality is for that one. I think it's more north, if I'm not mistaken. But this one, with it coming right through mid-America, it's just everybody in the south. It's close
the one in
enough to them.
2021 goes north to south, I believe. That's more of a line that goes north to south.
Right.
So I think we're going to have to go west to see that.
That's already by me. By then, Mark will have his area out there in Arizona.
Yeah, I think it is out in Arizona, actually. I don't think it's that far west, but it's out that direction.
Right. Absolutely. Well, any more questions for Paul in here? Because I don't want to hold this guy up too long. Let's say we got 11:45 right now, pretty much. So if anybody has any more questions, feel free to ask them. But yeah, Paul, thanks for joining me, bud. I know
Yeah,
this was
no
kind
problem.
of impromptu, but I like to do this a lot more when people, because I know, I mean, people just don't get to hear from you, you know, and I got to kind of be the voice of it, and but it's nice for people to be actually to hear your voice and hear your opinions and thoughts on stuff. You know, they hear me enough. You know, I'm on Bill's channel, I'm on this one, I'm on Mark's channel. You know.
Yeah,
So-
but you've got that radio voice, and you know you're the voice of our channel. So,
We're like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to P&K.
that's the man right there.
Yeah.
So I'm happy just to be in this end of it, you know. But I'll tell you, let's hope that tomorrow is a decent solar day. I will text you, and we can go live and do a quick solar tomorrow.
Awesome, that'll work.
Right.
And are you shooting for around noon?
Yeah, noon or just before, because anything later than that, and we'll get too many clouds.
Okay.
So you know, between noon and 1 would be great.
All right. Well, I'm not seeing any other questions in the chat, except for some people just saying hi to you. Amanda says hi, I believe.
No,
that was
hello
back.
everybody. Thanks very much. You know, and fingers crossed on this moon cycle coming up, this lunar cycle. You know,
Yes.
hopefully we'll have a good one. Lots of clear weather, and we get a good cycle in.
How is Miami shaping up weather-wise? I mean,
Well,
is it settling into a pattern, or?
Yeah, it is. And what it's been doing lately is we've been having afternoon showers,
Mhm.
and then it clears up in the evenings. So, which is normally how it's been, you know. But yeah, it's been quite a bit of rain lately. But I think it's getting to the point now where once the sun goes down, the clouds go away, and it's been clear at night.
Awesome.
Yeah. Now tonight, if we were doing the moon, we'd be okay, but there's just no stars out. There's too many blow off from the thunderclouds from earlier that haven't gone away yet.
Right. But yeah, I'll definitely want to talk to you more about Nashville, or even, I mean, if we have to, we can do it from the Carolinas. Once again, it's all going to depend on what the clouds and weather are doing. You know,
Right.
So it's going to be like that week. I mean, I have a pinpoint in Nashville. I have a contact in Nashville that has us set up.
Yeah, but
You know, ready
we
to go.
could really go anywhere
Right.
and go to you know, a hotel and just set up there.
Yep.
So we don't, you know, anywhere where there's internet, we could just set up.
So
So-
let everybody in the chat know that means we're going to get it, no matter
Yeah,
what. We're going to find
no-
it and we're going to get it.
We are gonna get it for sure.
And knowing our luck, there'll be like a hurricane or something, you know, blowing up the East Coast or something and just spitting it in hundreds of miles.
We're gonna be mobile. We're gonna be mobile, so we
Yeah.
can drive to where we see it. So
Well, that's what I told Mark. I was like, you know, say if clouds are coming in, moving in from the west, and this eclipse is about to start in a couple hours, I have no problem driving further west through the storm to get to the other side of it. You know what I mean?
well,
Where
I
it's
think
clear.
the weather people are good enough that they can give us good enough weather forecast that
Well,
we can
we
head
will
up
be-
whatever we need to.
The good part is we will be by the Jim Cantori from the Weather Channel. He's going to be right in our same area, so we should be able to hang out with him a little bit and you know, follow his weather predictions. You know,
I hope so. Well, I'm sure they're gonna list the cities that are gonna be good viewing.
Yeah.
And well, maybe we can get to one. That's all. You know.
All right, sir. Well, I thank you for
Okay.
joining me. I'm going to let the chat listen to some more copyright-free music for a little bit, and I'll probably jump back on with them in a little bit. But yeah, it's good to hear
And it
from
looks
you.
like you picked a good night to watch because I'm seeing lots of asteroids going by.
Yeah.
Lots of meteors going by, so you
Yep,
picked a good night.
I'm sitting here writing down the timestamps on it so I can review it again tomorrow and maybe isolate the clips and stuff for everybody.
Okay.
So, but yeah,
Sounds
Paul,
good.
thanks a lot. Once again, text me tomorrow, and we'll see if we get a solar stream started. And
Okay.
thanks to everybody in the chat. And once again, I'll be back with you in a little bit. Paul will be back more frequently, hopefully, in the future. So,
Yes, sir.
so once again, I'll be back in a little bit. Guys, thanks a lot. And I'll talk to you in a while.